And we're getting ready to get started here in just a moment. And we're live. Okay, Joanne, welcome to our stem cell activation patch info Q&A. And we're going to get started here in just a moment. I hope you can all hear me. So, okay, so let's get started with the information about the stem cell activation patches. Thank you for joining here today. Okay, and I'm sharing my screen with you. So we're going to start off with our disclaimer. We always like to start off with our disclaimer. So the stem cell activation patches disclaimer. The patches are not intended to treat, prevent, cure any disease. We do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. So we strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific healthcare challenge and treatment needed. So no medical claims are being made with the suggestions here tonight. Okay, and so I want to start off by sharing with you the stem cell activation patches, and I also want to share with you, this is actually a picture of stem cells under an electron microscope. This is what an actual stem cell looks like, as we have 24,698 DNA in our body. And so when we wear the stem cell activation patches, we're actually turning on 33%. That's like 4,000 stem cells that were previously asleep are now being turned on. So one of the characteristics of stem cells, and the reason why they're so powerful, is they're pluripotent. So what is pluripotent? Pluripotent simply means that they are able to turn into whatever type of cell your body needs at that moment in time when it needs it. So when your stem cells are turned on, and let's say you need one for your eye, or you need one for your heart, or maybe you have pain in your knee and you have inflammation, you need a cell for either the bone, the cartilage, the tendon, the muscle. Your stem cells know to send bone, cartilage, muscle, tendon, nerve, whatever it is that you need at the moment in time, it knows to turn it into that particular type of cell. And if you're on your computer, you can probably see this okay. If you're on your cell phone, this is probably really tiny. So I'm going to see if I can somehow, I haven't been successful in getting this to become bigger, but I will see if I can get this to become a bigger graphic. This graphic is simply showing that this cell here can convert into a cardiac cell, a skin cell, fat cell, blood cell, etc. This is a nerve cell, and so on and so forth. So you can think of your body. Your body is just like a house. It's your temporary housing unit for your energy, the spirit, the personality, and soul that is known as you. Okay. And so when you start to build a house, you would not start with the roof and then the walls. We have to start with the foundation, right? And so as we start with the foundation, the same thing is true with your stem cells. And we're going to talk first about the mother stem cell activation patch, and then we'll move on to the other patches, okay? So here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the mother stem cell activation patch, and that is X39, okay? And we've got someone else joining us here just in time. Okay. So this is the mother stem cell activation patch. This is the first of the fantastic, what I like to call the Fantastic Five. There are 5 foundational patches that basically take care of the whole system of the body. And so we're going to start with the mother, then the daughter stem cell activation patch. Then the 3 next patches are supportive patches that deal with, in conjunction with the mother and the daughter stem cell activation patch, to deal with all the systems of the body. And then we have more specific patches for different things that we'll discuss in just a moment, okay? And then we're going to open it up for questions and answers so that whatever questions you have, we can answer them at that time. So we're looking at the body, and the body is like a house. So we have to start off with a foundation, right? And so we start with a good foundation, and that would be the mother stem cell activation patch. And this is like the foundation of your body. And as you're looking at your stem cells, if you look at children, children don't have gray hair, they don't have wrinkles, they don't have a lot of, they don't have heart attacks and things like that because they have 100% of their stem cells that are on, right? So if you fast forward to the age of 30, when you're 30 years old, 50% of your stem cells actually turn off. It's like lights off, and now you only have 50% left when you're only 30. By the time you're 60 years old, 90 to up to 100% of your stem cells actually turn off, which is why when you see people in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, you see the onset of different chronic inflammatory type conditions, things like GERD, digestive issues, heartburn, diabetes, fibromyalgia, MS. There's no shortage. The list is infinite of different types of not just symptoms, diagnoses, and conditions that you might have as you progress in your 40s or 50s or 60s and above. And so I like to tell people a little bit about how you can equate what a stem cell is and then in the real world. But before we do that, let's talk about how the stem cell activation patches work. And this is what the stem cell activation patches look like. They're basically the size of a quarter, basically. They're 3 centimeters wide, just a little bit over, it's about an inch. And how do these work? So if you look at your body, if you touch your body, you know that a live body emits 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, approximately. Some people run a little cooler, some people run a little hotter, but basically it's about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And so your body emits infrared light. In fact, if I were to look at you under night vision goggles, I would be able to see you glowing in the dark because that's the infrared light that's not just contained inside of your body. The warmth and heat and temperature of your body is evidence of the light that's inside of it, specifically infrared light, and it actually emanates out of your pores. I actually have a device called a BioWell machine that I use to scan people's organs and organ systems of the body. And it'll actually tell me, and it'll measure the joules of energy in every organ and organ system in the body. And this is a picture kind of showing you what it looks like, what your energy looks like. It's not contained within your skin. It actually glows outside of your skin as well. So the Fantastic Five. So let's talk about the Fantastic Five. And I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom here. And I want to use this graphic now as kind of an indicator so that you can kind of wrap your mind around and understand the equivalent of our stem cells is very much like a copy printer, because the majority of us have printers at home. And of course, as you're using your printer is like your body. And then the cartridges, you've got the colored cartridges here, and you've got the black cartridge. And as you know, when you have cartridges that are brand new, you can barely tell the difference between the original as well as the copy. They're indistinguishable because you have an exact copy of the original color. And if it's a black and white copy, it's a crisp black and white copy, indistinguishable from the original. But when you've used up 70, 80, 90% of this toner cartridge, now the copy is a faded version of the original, and the black and white copy is now a gray and white copy, right? Does that make sense? So the same thing is true with your stem cells. When you have 100% of your stem cells, the copies of cells that your stem cells are creating to replace the damaged ones are identical to the originals. But when you have less than 50%, you have 40%, 30%, 20% or less, now there's little bits of information that's missing. The telomere length at the end of the strands of your DNA. In your DNA, you have telomere strands. It kind of looks like this lattice. And it's got at the end of the strand of the DNA, you have things called telomeres. And as the telomeres are complete, that determines your lifespan. And you have a myelin sheath. It's like a little sock that goes over your telomeres. As those start to deteriorate, and make sure we'll be opening this up for question and answers in just a minute, but to start off with, we'll have you all muted, okay? So as you progress and you age and you have 50% of your stem cells that have turned off by the time you're 30, and now up to a 90 to 100% by the time you're 60, there are pieces of the myelin sheath that start to deteriorate, and then pieces of the end of the telomere that break off, which start to shorten your lifespan in effect. And those stem cells, because there's, 40, 30, 10% or less of your stem cells, which is just like having only 30, 20, 10% of your ink left in your cartridge. Now, when you go to make copies of the cell that you need in your body, there's little bits of information that are missing. And so they're not crisp copies of the original. So how do we turn that around? With the Fantastic Five, with your mother stem cell activation patch. This is your foundational patch, and this is the mother stem cell activation patch. And this is activating your stem cells through your body's own infrared light, which will reset a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state. As I mentioned before, you have 24,698 genes. And 33%, which is about 4,000 genes, are going to be turned on that were previously off. That's immediately going to repair cellular damage, restore collagen, rebuild scar tissue, reduce fine lines and wrinkles, increase energy, increase your sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. And it's going to provide you some pain relief. Within 3 to 4 minutes of applying the patch, you'll have 50 to 100% pain relief, improved sleep. And a lot of people report hair growth, including I'm one of those people who are reporting hair growth. And I have tons of people in my practice that are reporting not just improved and increased hair growth, softer hair, but we also see people get their original hair color back. I had one gal with all white hair who went to her hairdresser, and her hairdresser said, "Hey, what's with all this red hair back here?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You have a whole bunch of hair in the middle, going down the middle of your head." And she's like, "Oh my God." She goes, "That's my original hair color." And so the hairstylist showed her in the mirror how she had all this hair down the middle. And she said, "Just dye it all red now." We have Dr. John Harmon. If you look on my channel, you'll see about his right bundle branch blockage that was restored after 4 or 5 months of being on the patches. And in addition to reversing that condition of his heart, that was supposed to be something that 3 cardiologists told him he was going to have to live with for the rest of his life and be on meds for the rest of his life. On top of being able to restore his body from that, he also was pleasantly surprised that not only the fine lines and wrinkles went away from his face, but all of his hair, you'll see in that video, his hair went from being gray to all of this is now brown. And now he just has the edges are now white. So I don't know if all of it will turn back to its original color. We'll have to wait and see. We'll find out over time, right? Everyone is different. So we don't claim that it will improve your hair growth or that it will bring back your original hair color, but many people are reporting increased hair growth, hair color restoration. And in my case, I was hit by a bus almost 6 years ago. And when I was hit from behind, so I had a bald spot that was the size of my palm on the bottom left-hand side of the back of my head. And now I have about almost 5 inches. And I didn't know that it was starting to grow. I didn't learn that the way I discovered it was in the middle of October. I was curling my hair because these are not natural curls. So I was using my curling iron to, curl my hair. And then all of a sudden I had a piece of hair that was at that time, it was about 3.5 inches long, somewhere between 3 and 4 inches long. And I went to curl it. And I'm like, why on God's green earth do I have short hair? And then I realized, oh my gosh. And I touched back there and I realized, oh, it's not shiny and bald anymore. There's hair that's starting to grow out and it's now 3 to 4 inches long. So I was pleasantly surprised, had no idea how long that would take to, for it to be restored. So it's filling in and it's starting to grow and so on and so forth. So I'm very happy about that. So moving on to the next stem cell activation patch. And I want to bring attention to the fact that because your collagen is restored, please bear in mind, you might now become aware of the fact that collagen is the most abundant protein in the body. It's what actually forms the cytoskeleton, which is the exterior of a cell's skeleton and structure. So it's very important to increase collagen and in order to repair your entire body inside and out. Okay? Does that make sense? So moving on. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go from the mother stem cell activation patch. And now this is the foundation. So now we're going to have our bearing wall, and that's the mother stem cell activation patch. And this patch is called X49. These stem cell patches, stem cell activation patches, I want to make the distinction that these patches do not have stem cells in them. So there are no stem cells in here. There are no medicines in here. There is nothing that is being put into your body when you wear a stem cell activation patch. The stem cell activation patches, this little middle part here, if you look closely, there's a crystal lattice in the middle, and that's made of organic nanotechnology in the form of organic sugars, amino acids, and peptides. Those crystals are arranged in a specific lattice work, and they're designed to mimic a diamond crystal. If you were to shine a light on a diamond crystal, you would see that as you shine a light on a diamond crystal, it reflects back all the different colors of the rainbow back to you. And so this is arranged to mimic a diamond crystal. So the moment you put this on your skin, your infrared light, which your body is actually the battery that operates this stem cell activation patch. It's going to now bounce off of this crystal lattice, and it's going to reflect back that infrared light into your bloodstream to activate something called GHKCU copper peptide. And that copper peptide is what's going to turn on your stem cells in the mother stem cell activation patch. And AHKCU is the active copper peptide that activates this stem cell activation patch. And this is going to protect you against radiation poisoning relief, increased lean muscle mass. It increases your bone density, muscle mass, and strength, increases your energy, your focus, your cardiovascular system, increases the 5G Bluetooth Wi-Fi radiation protection, so full spectrum of electromagnetic frequencies. It also reduces belly fat because this stem cell activation patch will go to use, if you have any belly fat, it will go to use that first as an immediate source of energy to fuel the body as it's turning on a third of your original stem cells that you were conceived with. That's a lot of energy that is now being turned on. So it uses that energy first. Just yesterday, I was talking to someone who just started on the patches just 10 days ago. And the day that she started on the patches, she had fallen down and she had injured herself. She already had an existing back condition, and it was made worse when she fell down and she was in terrible pain. The same day that she started on the patches, she immediately felt pain relief. Fast forward to yesterday, she called me up all excited. She goes, I've only been on these patches for 10 days. And Barbara was telling me, not only am I with pain relief, but I noticed that my hair is softer, my skin is better. People are starting to ask me here at the bank, what is it that you're doing? You look fantastic. They notice the texture of my skin, my hair, and I've lost 7 pounds in just 10 days. I said, you're kidding me. So the patches are designed to bring your body into homeostasis and back into balance, because you have a third of your stem cells that are now at a much faster rate. It's repairing and restoring and rebuilding your body to a younger, healthier state. She's only been on the patches for 10 days. Incredible. And some people, it takes 30 days for them to feel or to notice something. Some people, the moment. I have another lady who is 86 years old. And the moment she was recovering from shingles, and she's a breast cancer survivor. And the moment I put the first patch on, I put on her was X39. It's like X39, then X49, we use them in a row. So I put the first one on and she was immediately like, whoa. She goes, are you supposed to feel a warm, like vibration going down your spine and up like a wave? I said, you feel that already? And she says, yeah. She goes, it's like this low hum vibration that's going down my spine like a wave and it goes up. She goes, it's a pleasant feeling, but I've never felt anything like this before. I said, that's exactly what you're supposed to be feeling. Now, not everybody feels that. Everybody feels something different. Some people just feel warmth. Some people feel tingly sensation. Some people don't feel anything at all. About 80% of the people feel something immediately. About 20% of us, I'm in the 20% that the first day that I put the patches on, I didn't feel anything. It wasn't until about 3 weeks later that then I started to notice different things. So the other wonderful thing about this patch is that if you have osteoporosis, it will help osteoporosis because, again, this is rebuilding your bones, increasing bone density, muscle mass, and strength. For people who work out, we have a lot of Olympic athletes, a lot of pro athletes, a lot of peak performance, people that are into working out and rejuvenation. And I have one gal who she's in her 50s and she just recently had blood tests and her doctor told her, you're in the condition, your body biologically is like a 23-year-old, even though she's in her 50s. So moving on here to the next stem cell activation patch. So we've got mother stem cell, daughter, foundation, bearing wall. The next one we're going to talk about is glutathione. Okay. And if I were an octopus, I would be able to hold all four of these up like a little house. But since I'm a human, I only have two hands. So I'm just going to put this right here. You get the picture, right? So glutathione is a master antioxidant. This is part of our Y-Age kit. It completes, the next three complete our Fantastic Five. This is the master antioxidant detoxifier of the body. This also automatically boosts your immune system. So it increases your antivirals. And within 24 hours of you applying that patch, your glutathione levels will go from 300 to up to 600%. Our research study shows that all of the participants, their glutathione levels went to at least 300% higher, which is a great protection when it comes to your immune system being stronger and detoxifying your body. It's so important to detoxify. A lot of people take glutathione supplements, and you may or may not be aware that when you take oral supplements, those supplements are only going to benefit you to the degree that you can actually digest them and absorb them at a cellular level. So that's called methylation. If your cell is exposed to glutathione and those cell walls aren't open to receive and absorb the glutathione levels or any supplement that you're taking, then guess what? They slip off the outer membrane of the cells. And even though you can show that you have glutathione in your body, but your body's not receiving the glutathione benefit because it's not methylating it. It's not absorbing it inside the cell walls, inside the cell, in a little organelle that's called a mitochondria. And the mitochondria are the ones that are responsible for absorbing all the nutrients so that then it can digest it inside the mitochondria, because your mitochondria is your little manufactured digestive, like subdigestive system that then creates the energy and moves that light out throughout the rest of the body. Glutathione, very, very powerful, very important. It's created, the brain signals your liver to create your glutathione, and then your liver sends it out to all the organs of your body, because glutathione is found in every single organ of the body and in all of the muscles of the body. So when you're on the stem cell activation patches, I would say even if you're not on the stem cell activation patches, but especially if you're on stem cell activation patches, it's really important that you drink 50% of your body weight in fluid ounces of water. So if you weigh 100 pounds, that's 50 fluid ounces or more. If you're 150 pounds, 75 fluid ounces or more minimum. Because if you don't do that, if your body is dehydrated, which a lot of chronic inflammatory conditions, we see a lot of people are dehydrated. So your stem cells are now producing cells trying to replace the damaged cells. And what happens is it creates a stem cell and immediately runs into like a pit of quicksand. So a brand new cell is being sent out, boom, it hits a big pit of quicksand and it's just stuck there. Because as your body created that new cell, now your cells are sticky and they start to clump together. We actually see that when we take blood samples and you look at that, you could see there's a big difference between cells that can freely move, that are slippery and they can go where they need to go, as opposed to cells that start to clump together. And as they start to clump together, if you have too many of those that start to clump together, they start to form masses, they can form tumors, they can form all sorts of problems for the body. So we don't want that. That's no bueno. We want everything to be moving and grooving top to head, top to bottom, head to toe. Okay, does that make sense? So glutathione. So the next thing is, we've only got two more. And then in a few minutes here, we're going to open it up for questions. Carnosine. That is your next stem cell activation patch. The fourth of the Fantastic Five. And carnosine, I like to tell people to think about carnosine sounds like carne asada, like carne asada tacos. Carne means meat. So the glutathione, the carnosine, and the next patch, eon, those are the names of antioxidants found in the body. So glutathione is the actual name, and the patch is named after that master antioxidant that it turns on. Same thing with carnosine. This is another master antioxidant, phenomenal for the brain. This very powerful patch supports and improves your cardiovascular system, all things that are related to the heart and the muscle. What a lot of people are unaware of is that if you have a good cardiovascular system, chances are you have good brain focus, memory, clearness of mind, and good processing speed. If you have a poor cardiovascular system, you're going to have poor memory, you're going to have poor recall, and poor focus of the brain. So the only exception to that is someone can have a good cardiovascular system. And if you've suffered a traumatic brain injury, a concussion, or multiple concussions, you can have a good cardiovascular system and your brain, where you have no short-term memory, no long-term memory, or neither of the two, or one or the other. And you can have poor focus, not able to think, not able to process, not able to recall. But in time, that traumatic brain injury will affect your cardiovascular system, because that's like it's like a CPU and a computer. That's your brain that gives the commands to the rest of the body. So eventually your cardiovascular system's not going to work well if you don't address that issue of that traumatic brain injury. So this is improving cardiovascular system, all things related to the heart and muscle. It improves healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time. One of the things that myself and many others, I know that we noticed after about 30 days on the patches, we noticed that our brain processing speed, our memory, our recall is much faster. It's like you don't have to effort to learn. You're able to recall, and in real time, without trying to memorize, without trying to learn, you just absorb the information, and then boom, you're able to use it as you're speaking and talking to people. The other thing this does is it increases your strength, your actual muscular strength, your stamina, and your endurance. So if you've been suffering, let's say you go to hike or you go to work out, maybe you're taking groceries in, multiple bags, and you're trekking them up, whether you're going up the stairs or not. Maybe you're fatigued after taking groceries back and forth from your car. You'll notice that your strength, your stamina, and your endurance, you're not going to be winded. You're not going to be wiped out. You won't be fatigued, which is a wonderful benefit to have under any circumstance. Whether you do work out or you don't work out, you're going to notice that your energy levels are up. The other thing this patch does, it supports and detoxes the brain from aluminum. Now, I want you to think about, sometimes people think it's like, detox the brain from aluminum. I don't consume aluminum. You probably don't think you do. However, how many of us have had cranberry juice, apple juice, pear juice, any kind of juice, coconut water, out of an aluminum can? How many of us have drunk beer out of an aluminum can? How many of us have grown up drinking Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Crush, Mountain Dew, Sprite, 7-Up, any kind of soda, no brand sodas in an aluminum can? How many of us have brushed our teeth with a toothpaste as we were growing up that was in an aluminum tube? It wasn't until 2014 that the maker of Tom's organic toothpaste, they were one of the first manufacturers of organic toothpaste that decided, because of the clamoring from their consumers that said, how can you have organic toothpaste in an aluminum tube when we know that aluminum, we've known for 25 years that aluminum is a known neurotoxin. It creates neurocognitive decline. It lowers your ability to think, to process, to recall. It taints your memory. It frays the nerves at a neural level in the brain. So much research to support that. We've known for many, many years, 25 plus years, we've known that aluminum is a known neurotoxin. So based on that, Tom's was one of the first toothpaste manufacturers to turn over their tubing. And instead of putting it in an aluminum tube, they now, since then, they've been using a recyclable plastic instead. And then many of the other toothpaste makers followed suit as well. So we get aluminum also sometimes from our water supply, depending where you live in. Some people absorb aluminum also through their skin as a direct result of the environment where they're working in, car manufacturing plants, mills where they're dealing with all sorts of different metals. And we're going to answer your question in just a minute. iPhone, I'm not sure what your name is, but we'll get to you in just a minute. So we're getting aluminum from all sorts of different places, including you take home food from a restaurant. Oftentimes that's in an aluminum container. Food that you cater at your house, or you go to an event and the food is catered, they come in aluminum trays. The list is really endless. So this is going to detox your brain. And so that's part of the whole system improvement that you're going to get, and the aid of wound healing. I'm going to just do this last one here, and then we'll get to you, iPhone. If you want to type your name in the chat, that would be great. Again, I'm going to emphasize, the other thing is, because of all of the things that this carnosine patch does, needless to say, it aids in wound healing. So again, I'm going to bring up the 50% of your weight in fluid ounces of water. Very, very important. Okay. And then the fifth of the fantastic five is called Eon. Eon is another master anti-inflammatory. We call it the anti-stress happy patch. It raises actinioplastins, which I'll explain what that is in just a minute. DHEA, which is the fountain of youth hormone. And a lot of people, you're probably aware, a lot of people take DHEA as an oral supplement. We've got brain balancing that occurs when you take this patch of both your right and your left hemisphere of your brain. That creates a calming effect, and it reduces also the C-reactive proteins that are created when you have a fight or flight response. So if you are in a high stress situation or circumstance, if you have frustration, if you have a lot of tension, if you have a very demanding job, or you have a lot of demands in your home, maybe you're juggling, maybe you're outnumbered. Maybe there's, 2 kids plus your job, or maybe you have 3 kids and you're juggling a lot at home. It's like you don't have any relief. You're working full-time at home with your kids, and then you have your full-time job outside of that. It's a lot of plates to keep spinning in the air. This patch is going to give you a calm, more balanced. It actually, the scientific research studies show that it also increases your consciousness and your awareness. And so this is a fantastic patch to bring brain balancing of both your right and your left hemisphere of your brain. Let me address now what actinioplastins are, and then iPhone, we are going to go ahead and answer your question first. So actinioplastins, I took this directly out of a research study because I thought it was the best explanation of actinioplastins. And these are peptides that are found in the urine and in the blood of healthy people. They might stimulate the immune system, and these peptides might also kill certain cancer cells or prevent them from growing. They're used for various cancers. They are also used for high cholesterol, brain swelling that's due to any kind of infection, and other conditions. So actinioplastins oftentimes are in IVIG. IVIG, which is, IV is for in vitro or intravenous actually, and IG is immunoglobulin. So for people who have autoimmune disorders, neurological conditions, oftentimes they have to be put on IVIG treatments, and those are rich in ateinoplastins because they have immunoglobulin. Okay, so now I'm going to answer. I'm going to see your name is Maria. And Maria, go ahead and unmute yourself. And you guys can all unmute yourselves, provided you don't have a lot of background noise. And let's answer your questions. I'm going to turn
Oh,
off.
my name is Maida. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say one thing about aluminum exposure is from cooking with tinfoil over a food. It'll leach it when it gets heated up. It'll leach into our food. So if you want to use tinfoil, I always talk about the parchment paper, using that as a barrier.
Yeah, that's a great point, to use the parchment paper as a barrier. How many of us grew up with our parents, and even myself, you would take a potato and you wrap it in aluminum and then bake it, or a sweet potato, or so many pies are baked in aluminum instead of stoneware. They're baked in an aluminum pie pan. Most of us grew up with pies that were baked in aluminum pie pans. I know for me, it wasn't until my early 30s that I started to buy stoneware to make pizzas instead of an aluminum round pizza container, or the same thing for pies. I was previously baking with aluminum, and then I switched over to stoneware. But a lot of people to this day still use aluminum to bake things. And so your food is absorbing the aluminum. The thing is, it's like traces of aluminum from pies, from baked potatoes, from this food, from that food, from toothpaste that you've been using since you were a kid. And it starts to accumulate in your body because your body doesn't have a way of, in science and in chemistry, we call it chelate, which means to pull it out. So the body can only take so much of it out. And as you start to accumulate it in the body, then that's where you have the neurocognitive decline, where your brain processing speed slows down. All of a sudden, you can't think of words, you can't recall, you get stuck, you have foggy brain, you have poor memory, you have poor focus. And so it's no wonder. So thank you for that tip of using parchment paper and then putting the aluminum. That's absolutely a great tip, actually. I never thought of that. So thank you, Nita. Anybody else have any questions that I can answer at this time? Okay, doesn't appear that anybody has. Okay, Deborah.
Yeah. My question is, I guess I want to know, and I think you had said something about there was a source to find out that, like, on these patches, the best placement for these. And you had just mentioned to put it on your spine in a row. I started putting on for my husband the Carnosine. I put it right in between, like at his, just below his breastbone, down a little ways.
A little farther down?
Yeah, just
around this spot here?
Yeah, right there. Uh-huh.
That's an acupuncture point. So these are things to notice. Okay, so like when I first started wearing the patches, and I started with the Fantastic Five, first I started on my spine, and then I think 2 days after I started, then I moved the Carnosine patch. I put it on my thymus gland. This is another acupuncture point. It's in between your breasts. It's right on your thymus gland. I want you to think of Tarzan, and you think of an ape goes, oh,
yeah,
right? The reason why they're hitting their thymus gland, when you tap it or you hit it this way, you're activating your thymus gland, which gives you more energy. So because Carnosine has to do with all things related to the heart, the muscle, your cardiovascular system, I put it on my thymus gland because it's close to my heart, and I knew that it would give me more energy. So I started doing that. I had a little bit of irritation where it started to get itchy. And after 3 days of doing that, I had to put it back on governing vessel 14, which is your neck bump. And I'm going to show you mine. Can you see those?
Yes, we can. Yep.
I wasn't sure since I can't see. So I just put mine in a row there. I do have SP6 under my belly button, but I moved it back there because it was just simply too itchy. Probably because when you first start your detoxing, not everybody a lot of people will like, they never have any issues. I have super sensitive skin. So that was the only place I ever had any itching. And the first 2 days I tried to ignore it. The third day it was just so itchy. I was like, okay, I got to move it. So I just put it back there because I didn't have any irritation anywhere else. It was just on my thymus gland, but I know that the glutathione is pulling out and detoxing my body. For some reason, it's coming out through the carnosine patch. I'm like, okay. So I just moved it. And then later on, here and there, I put it there. But actually in October, in late September, I saw a video where David Schmidt, who is the scientist who was originally hired by the Department of Defense to create these patches for Black Ops Navy SEALs, the Department of Defense hired him to create these stem cell activation patches. And he said that he used the Alavita patch, which is used to activate your pineal gland. And he says that's an evening only patch because it also increases your melatonin. So he puts that on his third eye here, and then he puts carnosine here because he says, because, you know, the tissue here is very, very thin. So it's almost touching your brain and it gives you very vivid dreams. And I thought, ooh,
Oh, wow.
so I thought, ooh, very vivid dreams. I go, wow, for me, my dreams are already very vivid. They're like as real as this. I go, I can't imagine them being any more vivid. So mine were not more vivid. However, I will say that I will have 1, 2, or 3 dreams in an evening, and I remember them when I wake up. And before I would wake up, and the most recent dream I would remember, and I had a notion, I knew that I had 1 or 2 other dreams, but I couldn't remember them. And so now I wake up and I'm like, I remember them. And what's kind of interesting is since October, I'm dreaming with more people that I actually know in 3D. Like maybe I dreamt of them before and I couldn't remember them, but I'm actually remembering, like, because I remember my dreams and they're giving me information that then when I go and I call people, I'm like, oh my gosh. I go, the reason I'm calling you is because I had a dream, and they're like, well, this is what happened and this is what happened. I'm like, that's what I saw in my dream. No wonder I saw this. I saw that. So it's giving me, now I know it's not just the carnosine because the Eon patch increases your awareness. I have one of the papers here. I'm in the midst of doing a series about the Fantastic Five where I go over these are printed research papers, and I've highlighted different things. So in one of these, so we have the in the Eon patch, there's a part of the research paper where they talked about how people had increased awareness and consciousness, and they actually measured that in this paper. And I thought, wow, no one talks about that, which is why I'm going to do, that's on my project of list of things to do. But that makes sense because as my awareness is increased and I'm wearing carnosine here at night instead of wearing it during the day, along with Alavita that's activating my pineal gland, I'm going, wow, this dynamic is not only am I restoring and repairing my body to a younger, healthier state, but I'm getting all these other extra benefits too, which to me, that's like just next level.
That's so good. Okay, thank you.
So I would say for your husband, putting it on that acupuncture point, which is at the bottom of your rib cage, it's like right where it dips. That's a good spot. If he feels good with it there and his instincts say, yeah, you know what, I like the way my energy feels here, or I have a feeling that resonates with him, then wear it there. If you want to put it on your thymus gland, the truth of the matter is you can put the patches anywhere on your body. And if your husband has pain anywhere on the body, you can take all Fantastic Five. And as an example, I've had several people who've had hip pain. One gal in particular, Teresa, she had hip pain all along here. And so she took the Fantastic Five and just put them all the way across here. The next day, not only was her pain gone, she said her pain was gone, her strength was increased, and her flexibility. She says, I could not the day before, she goes, she had just moved and her mattress was on the floor where she could not, she had to kind of struggle to get up because of the hip pain. The next day, she was able to be in a squat position and get up straight from the bed, from the floor. And she says, I couldn't do that before. She goes, that's just one day of switching them there. I'm like, you followed your intelligence. Absolutely. So I tell people, if you have bone on bone pain, if you have GERD, whatever, point to where you feel the pain and you could put all 5 patches there. experiment. And if it resonates with you, if you're like, oh no, putting it here just bothers me, then listen to your body intelligence, because your body is telling you this is good, or it feels you have a bad dissonant notion that's like, ooh, get away. That means just put it back on your neck or put it below your belly button. They're designed to work on your skin head to toe. Okay.
Okay, I have one more question, if that's okay.
Sure. One more question, and then we'll go to Carol, and then iPhone. If you can put your name. Oh, actually, that's Nada again. So yeah, go ahead, Deborah.
Okay, so I know that you put them on for 12 hours and then you take it off.
Yeah.
Is it possible? So I'm just theoretical. I haven't ever tried this, and I just came to me. I'm like, oh, maybe you could do that, because I've not used the Carnosine at night, which is what David was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Could you use it during the day and then put another one on somewhere else at night?
No. So what you do is, instead of wearing it during the day, so you would wait, instead of wearing the Fantastic Five all during the day, you would wear 4 minus Carnosine, where, let's say, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then at 9 p.m. at night, when you remove your morning patches, then you would apply your Alavita patch.
Yeah.
Even if you don't go to bed at 9 p.m., doesn't matter. You would just apply them at 9 p.m. Like for me, my schedule is 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I put my patches on. I put the Fantastic Five minus the Carnosine, and then I have SP6 that I wear literally, and I'll show you, I wear this literally. You'll see that it's under my belly button. So then at night at 10 p.m., I remove my patches from my governing vessel 14 and below my belly button, CV6. I take them off, and then I take Alavita. I put it between, I wash my face, do all that, put it Alavita to activate my pineal gland, and it also regulates your autonomic nervous system. And then I put Carnosine over here on my right thing, and then I don't go to bed till past midnight. So then when I go to sleep, I go to sleep, but I am wearing it for 12 hours at night from 10 p.m. till 10 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next we're going to go to, let's see, Carol. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Hi. Thank you so much for the information, because I'm just so appreciative of
Welcome.
the Fantastic Five, because I was, because I was so focused on the X39, and but I do use the X49 in the beginning, because I have been diagnosed with osteoporosis. I don't claim anything. I just say that's what they say, and I say, okay, and I act accordingly.
Mhm.
But my question is, do you recommend wearing them like 7 days a week? That's what I'm trying to understand, is because I was looking at the Eon and the Carnosine. Like the Carnosine says 3 days in the little booklet, the Eon says 5 to 7, and the glutathione say 5 to 7.
So my stem cells exist in my body 24/7 from the time that I was conceived. So I do the same thing that David Schmidt does, he's the scientist who originally created this technology. And there's not a single day that he skips. And so you're going to wear the patches the days that you want to activate your stem cells. If you don't want the benefit of having 33% of your stem cells on, then don't put them on. And that's why the stem cell activation patches come in a sleeve. A sleeve is simply an envelope. It's a specially designed envelope to hold 30 patches. And so you have a 30-day supply. You have 30 stem cell activation patches in each one. Only exception is Energy Enhancer and Ice Wave, where there's 30 patches, but because they're a 2-patch system, you have 15 of each, which makes it a 2-week supply instead of a 4-week supply. So I recommend everyone that I have started on the stem cell activation patches, I have everybody wear them every day. I think I only have one person who has certain conditions where the glutathione patch she can't wear every day. She has to wear it for less hours and less days a week, but she's working up depending on how her body is responding. But for most, I'd say 99%, 99.8% of the people, I would say wear the glutathione, wear all 5 every single day. I have people with stage 4 lymphoma cancer that 2 days before they were diagnosed, because they were in the ER, and we patched them while they were in the ER. We started them on the stem cell activation patches. Fast forward to December, the week before Christmas. That person, the second PET scan shows that they're completely clear. They no longer have stage 4 lymphoma cancer. The tumor in his stomach is gone. The stage 4 lymphoma cancer that they originally found in his blood, all gone.
That's the lady's father. I remember your video about that, your webinar about
Yeah,
that.
his name is Shane, and that was Sunday's father. Yeah, and he's still,
Okay.
and despite, because he was in horrible pain when he showed up at the ER, he was hemorrhaging, he was urinating and defecating blood, and horrible stomach pain. He didn't know he had that big tumor in his stomach. And so he only had pain that first day. He hasn't had pain since that first day, since we started him on the patches.
Okay. So, okay, then, so 7 days a week. Okay, because that was I was looking at the brochures and I was getting, and I watched you did another presentation about the Fantastic Five, and I watched that, but I didn't remember hearing how many days you should wear it. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so the next person is Carol. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Carol.
No, that I'm Carol.
Oh, okay, you are Carol.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and so I think we've answered everybody's questions. Are there any other questions that you guys might have about the stem cell activation patches that I might be able to answer at this time? Okay, so it looks like we've answered everybody's questions. Okay, the number one thing, again, drinking 50% of your body weight in fluid ounces of water, very, very important. And I also recommend that you add a little pinch of organic Himalayan salts to your water, so that that adds a little electrolytes and minerals to your water to your body, because your body, the water inside your body has 0.09%. It's like saline solution. It has a certain amount of sodium in it. So by doing that, that makes it easier for your body to assimilate. And then again, you have more electrolytes, so that your cells are really slippery and it really benefits you. So if you have no other further questions, we're going to wrap this up. It's 6 minutes before the hour. And thank you for joining us here tonight. And if you are watching this on YouTube, because we're simulcasting this to YouTube, get back to the person that referred you to this video. They'll get you more information. If you're interested in getting started, they'll show you how to get started. If you came here as a result of my invitation, you know where to reach me, whether it's on Facebook, on Instagram, direct messaging, or on Telegram. Just let me know and we can get you started. And that's it. Ciao for now, my friends and gems. Bye.